Welcome back, Huskies. We have one more video, of this unit. It was a hefty one, so thanks for joining me. My name is Mrs. Robinson, and I am going to handle business, and you are too. Let's go. So vertical angles are across from each other. They are congruent. That is huge, guys. Congruent. Very important. Okay? And what I like to do is it makes kind of an hourglass shape. So if I have this as my angles, it makes these hourglasses. So this angle and this angle are known as vertical angles. Okay? So angle 4 and angle 2 are congruent because they're vertical angles. Okay? And thank you for listening in. I know sometimes it's hard to listen while we are going over it, but it does really help. And then angle 1 and then angle 3 are also vertical angles. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Again, it makes that hourglass. So if you've ever seen an hourglass before, one of those old school ones, that's what we're making. They're across the way from each other. Okay? Perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are very fancy. They cut across at the 90-degree angle. Okay? So they make right angles. Okay? They create those 90 degrees right angles. So when they do that, all 4 of these become 90 degrees. All right? Linear pair, we've been talking about this a lot. They add up to 180 degrees, also known as a straight angle. They create a straight angle. And they also create supplementary angles if there's more than one. Okay, well, there has to be because it's a pair. Hello. So supplementary angles add up to 180. Ba-ding, ba-ding. They make up a straight line. All right, so let's identify these. So angle 1 and 2 are linear pair, vertical angles, or neither. So we have to identify these and see what's happening. So angle 1 and angle 2 make a straight line. So that is a linear pair. 1 and 2 for here, well, they're not next to each other. They're across the way from each other. So it makes that hourglass figure. So it's vertical angles. And then 1 and 2, if you notice, it makes a straight line. And I don't know if they're perpendicular, but they make up a straight line. So angle 1 and angle 2 are also a linear pair. We don't know about the 90 degrees unless it had that shape. It does not have that shape. Solve for the following. Okay, so we're going to solve for these knowing what we know. What do we know? We know that linear pairs add up to 180. And we know that vertical angles are congruent. Okay? So 60 and Y are vertical angles. They create that hourglass. They're across the way. So if this is 60, Y is also 60 degrees. Now, how on earth do I find out what X is? Well, X and 60 create a linear pair. So I do 60 plus X equals 180. I subtract 60 to both sides, and X equals 120. If this is 120, this side also has to be 120 degrees. So in these angles, it's either 60 or 120 based on the linear pair or the vertical angles. Okay? So 118, what is the relationship to 118 and Y value? Well, they come up to making a linear pair. So I have Y plus 118 is 180. Okay? So I'm going to subtract 118 to both sides and find the value of 180. So practicing putting it in the calculator. So Y equals 62. So, is X 62 degrees or is X 118 degrees based on where it is? Okay? Well, it's a vertical angle to 118. So look at how large that angle is compared to the y, and it's, again, across the way from it. Okay? So x is 118 degrees. Y is 62. X equals 118. All right, number 4. If this is 90 degrees, this also has to be 90 degrees because it adds up. 90 plus 90 equals 180. Okay? So if these two add up to, so remember this little corner means 90. I'm going to add them together and make it equal to 180 and solve for x. All right, so I added these together and I noticed 90 and 46 are both constant numbers. So I added them and made 136. And then I had the 2x and I dropped it down. Opposite of adding 136 is subtracting 136. That's how I got 44. And now I'm dividing 2 to both sides, and I got x equals 22. All right? So I could plug that back in, and let's see what I get. So 44 plus 46, and look at that. That is also 90 degrees. Okay? Magic. All right. Now I don't have to do all that work for y. If this is 90 degrees, this is also 90 degrees because they are vertical angles. Okay? So if this is 90, y is also 90 degrees. So x equals 22, y equals 90 degrees. All right, for C, we need to look to see what is the information. What could we solve for first? All right, so now we have to look to see what we've got here for this problem. Fix 8y minus 10, and then I have 2 plus 7y. So these two angles are congruent because they're vertical angles, so I'm going to make them equal to each other. So I notice that they both are y's, so I can put them together. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 7y to the left, and I get y minus 10 equals 2. Then I'm going to add 10 to the other side, and I get y equals 12. Okay, so I know that y equals 12. Now, how on earth do I figure out what x is? Okay, well, these two added together add up to 180. So, and the same thing with these two. These two also add up to 180 because it's a straight line. So if I do 3x plus 2 plus 7y equals 180. All right, there we go. But now I know what y is, so I'm going to plug y in and see if this can make it a little bit easier. Because if I don't know what y is, I can't solve this. So I have 3x plus 2 plus 7 times 12. Oh, that's 84. And that equals 180. So I have 3x plus 86 equals 180. So 180 minus 86 equals 94. So I'm subtracting 86 to both sides and equals 94. And then I'm dividing by 3. So x is roughly 31.3. So x equals 31.3, y equals 12 when you plug that back in. All right, solving for x and y, then find the angle measures. So this is a big problem. So first we should look, excuse me. So we should first look at what are the same variables. So it looks like 75 minus 2x and 5x plus 5. So those are equal to each other because they're vertical angles. So I'm going to solve for x first. So 7 minus 2x equals 5x plus 5, and solving from there. So subtract 5x. Doesn't matter which side, just make sure you put the x's together. So I have negative 7x. Drop everything else down. Now I'm going to subtract 75 to both sides. And I get negative 7x equals negative 70. Divide negative 7 to both sides, and x equals 10. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my y values. I have 3y plus 20 and 4y minus 15. So now I'm going to solve for my y's. Just find room as best you can on here. So 3y plus 20 equals 4y minus 15. So let's think about this. Got to get my y's together, and I got to get my numbers together. Okay? So I'm going to move my y first. So 3y minus 4y is negative y plus 20 equals negative 15. Okay? And then this 20, I have to move over because I got to get this y by itself. So opposite of adding 20 is subtracting 20. And I get negative y equals negative 35. Divide negative 1 to both sides. And y equals 35. So I figured out what my x is and what my y is, and now I plug it back in. So here's a little trick. So HMJ is the green one on top, and LMK is the green one on the bottom. So these green ones, I was told that they should be equal. Okay? So if I plug in the y value of 35 into both of them, I should get the same answer. So I'm going to plug 35 in. So how do I do that? All right, so I have 3 times, let's change the color. So I've got 35 for the y. So 3 times 35 plus 20, and let's solve that. So 3 times 35 plus 20, and that's 125. So that's for HMJ, 125. HMJ. And then for LMK, it should be the same amount. You should get the exact same answer. 4 times 35 minus 15. And that's 125 degrees. Okay? Now I'm going to plug in. Now I have to find out what these values are by plugging in what is the value of x. 10. So I'm going to plug 10 in to both of them. 5 times 10 is 50. Plus 5 is 55 degrees. So JMK is 55 degrees. HML should also be 55 degrees. So when you have a shape like this, it's either one of the measurements based on the vertical angles or the measurement of the other one. Okay? They also should add up to, what is it? They should also add up to 180 degrees because they make straight lines. So they either add up to 180 or they equal each other in these problems. All right, now it's your turn. I want you guys to set these up and solve them. So 6x plus 10 equals 2x plus 30. Solve for x. Then do the same thing. Why did I do that? Because these two equal each other. 6x plus 10 and 2x plus 30. Yes. Now I have 13y plus 10, and 16y minus 20. So that's my first step. I need to find the value of the variable. So try those out and check back and see what you got. So the answers, so x should equal 5 for these green angles. Then I plugged 5 back in. 6 times 5, so 6 times 5 plus 10. 30 plus 10 is 40. So AEC is 40 degrees. The same for DEB. These are equal to each other. So this also has to be 40 degrees when you plugged it in. Now, then I solved for the y values, so moving the 16, and you should get -3. And if you move the 10 and get -10, this should be a -30. When you divide the -3, you get +10. Plug 10 back in and solve from there. All right? So thanks for working hard today, and hope this is making sense for you guys. And we have one more. One more to go, guys. So solve for x, y, and z. Well, how on earth do I do that? So this is the big indicator. This is 90 degrees. It shares a line with the z squared. With the z degree. So z also has to be 90 degrees. What does that mean? Well, that angle, this angle right here, is vertical to this angle. So this also has to equal 90 degrees. And let's look over here. 90, and then this one also has to be 90 degrees. So because of that 90-degree angle and the relationship with angles and vertical angles and linear pairs, all four of these equal 90 degrees. So already I know that z equals 90 degrees. And now let's do this one. So 3y equals 90. So I'm going to find out what y is now by dividing 3. Y equals 30. The last one we've got to do is this x one. All right, let's factor. So x squared plus x equals 90. Got to make it equal to 0 by moving it over. X squared plus x minus 90 equals 0. And do our x method. What multiplies to -90 and what adds to 1. 1 is that mystery number next to the x. So then I have 10 and -9. So I have x plus 10 and x minus 9. So my answers for x are -10 and +9. Okay, so I have z equals 90, y equals 30, and x equals -10 and 9. Because remember, when it comes out as the factors, you change the sign. All right, now we are done. Phew. All right, Huskies, have a great day. Thanks for joining me.